And we are live. You guys are in for a great treat today. We have a great guest on the show, Lawnbot Live. We're going to be starting it here in about 1 minute. 1 minute to be going just to start Lawnbot Live here. I've got Chris Stout in the house, Stout's Lawn Care. Not going to want to miss it. Make sure you buckle in, get the popcorn ready. This is going to be an amazing episode. It's going to be a motivating episode. It's going to be an episode that I think a lot of people can learn from, can take the advice given in this episode and apply it to their own business and hopefully provide a lot of value. So we're gonna get started here in just 2 seconds, and we'll get rolling. So Chris is in the hot seat today. He's excited to be here. Hey. Welcome to Lawnbot Live. Every Friday, we bring you the best of the green industry, the best and the brightest, the people doing big things, the people that are growing their companies. We do this show to talk about, there's lots of content on the internet, on YouTube and wherever you absorb content about how to do a lawn, maybe equipment, maybe all of the nooks and crannies of like everything that has to do but marketing and sales. So this show, what we talk about is marketing and sales, how to grow your business, how to grow your company. And today I have a very special guest. We have Chris Stout, Stout's Lawn Care in the house. Chris, thanks for coming on the show today.
No problem, Kendall. My pleasure. I'm enjoying it. Please excuse my my background over here. This is a work in progress, office / basement / kids room, all the above when you start a business for sure.
Dude, that's awesome. That's where we started our company, was in the basement of my parents' house. And eventually we moved to the upstairs bedroom, literally
That's right.
Probably 60 square foot.
Yep.
And now they have a 2,000 square foot production facility.
Yep.
10 trucks, like as they say, more money, more problems.
So. Yeah, for sure. It's nice. Like we were talking earlier, it's nice just coming downstairs and getting a little work done late night and going through numbers and things like that. And literally just walk downstairs. It's nice.
Dude, I remember those late nights. I mean, being there in front of the computer, being like, okay, this is where we're at now. This is where we want to go. How do I get here? And that's why I wanted you to come on the show today, because I think you have a background that a lot of people could probably learn quite a bit from you. You've been in the industry for 10 plus years now. Tell the folks a little bit about who you are and where you come from.
So good story, funny story is I was in the restaurant business for a long time. I started off in a retirement home at 13 years old, dishes, serving old folks orange juice and eggs in the morning. And I worked my way up in the restaurant industry all the way up to a chef, a local restaurant by me. So I was working 9 to 9s, 10 to 10s, six days a week in the restaurant industry. And I wanted to change. I was tired of the weekends and nights, and it was fun. It was definitely fun in my early 20s, no question about it, but it gets tiring pretty fast. And so honestly, I answered a Craigslist ad for Scott's Lawn Care and never looked back with lawn care. I love being outside. I love nature. My mother worked at a nursery for many years when I was a kid. So I didn't go to daycare. I went to the nursery to hang out with my mom and plant flowers and water flowers. So it's been in my blood. I got stuck in the restaurant business and I liked it for a while, but like I said, it gets old pretty fast.
What caught your attention about the green industry? Like, was there you like being outside, or was it just
results? Yeah, I love seeing results, even in the culinary industry. When you plan a meal, you get all the ingredients together and you make it and you send it out, and the customer loves it. They love that pasta or whatever it may be. And the green industry is similar to that. You get out on a lawn that hasn't been treated in 10 years and it's filled with weeds and bare spots, and you look back at the end of the year and you're like, wow, that's what I did. They trusted me. It's a gratifying feeling for sure.
And the best gratifying feeling is after you do all that work and they renew with you.
That's right.
then there's a customer in town. Her name is Lynette Hooker. Lynette Hooker, if you're watching this, we love you, because she was an original customer of my dad's. She saw me as a child, like on the lawn, and she's still a customer today. 22 years later, she's still a customer. She lives in the same house, and she pays every year to get her lawn done. She's one of the first people that sends a renewal prepaid.
That's awesome.
In October.
And it's the great thing about our business too, is the renewals. I mean, if you're not, probably get into this, but if you're not taking advantage of sending every single customer a renewal and every single estimate a renewal this time of year, then you're missing a lot. You're missing a lot. And we renew our services from year to year. We are going to come and be on your lawn early spring, whether you tell us, what you have to communicate. If you don't want it done, then we won't do it. But timing's everything.
Well, really, that's a convenience for the customer. It's one less thing they have to worry about. People are busy these days. I mean, they don't want to have to add a job. And, there are some friction points on the back end around people that maybe didn't want you to come out. But most of the times, I would say we both save those people, right? Like, I assume if I'm doing a good job, you're gonna want to keep me coming out, right, Mrs. Jones?
Exactly. And that's that, when I worked at my previous company, GoGreen Lawn Services, we had 3,000 customers, and the kickback we got was almost unbearable certain weeks, but the benefit outweighs that unbearableness for the week that you have to deal with it. And a lot of customers, if you talk them off the ledge, say, hey, listen, I'll still offer you my discount. Let's get this done right now. We want to make sure we continue the progress on the lawn. You're most likely going to turn them around. There's a few customers that, one and dones, we call them, that just wanted their lawn turned around and that's it. But most customers, I don't feel as if that's how they think.
So you started at Scott's. How long were you at Scott's for?
I was at Scott's for 2.5, 3 years.
Okay.
That was a great experience. Okay. Great experience. They were an amazing company. I guess they sold TruGreen, obviously, but they were great. And then I moved on to Andrew's Lawn and Landscaping, aka GoGreen Lawn Services in Westchester, PA. And I started off as a tech with Andrew, and I think the knowledge I learned from Scott's and how they ran their routes and their operations, and I brought a lot of that to GoGreen. Before they were doing not that many stops in a day, 8, 9 stops in a day per tech. And I got there. I said, listen, we can do 15, we can do 20 in a day. We just got to push it a little.
Production focused, right? So what's our production per day per truck, right? Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Exactly. So, when I started, we had 300 customers, but we also had 2.5 techs. And I looked at that. That's not the right number. When I look at numbers as far as how many techs you need per customers, it's usually around 300. So I said, we have 3 techs that's 100 customers per tech. That's too little. You can do it with 1 tech if you get them out there every day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week in the spring and the fall, and really get them motivated and pay them well. And I think that's when me and Andrew kind of got on the same page. I got out of the field. I started doing more of scheduling, and then scheduling evolved to hiring to basically general manager, jobs.
That's awesome. So what, along that path, you start at Scott's, you go to Andrews, they start growing. You help grow their turf division.
Correct.
Where was that big moment of, I think I want to cut my own cloth, hang up my shingle, as they say, hang my own shingle, and go out and start my own company? Like, where did that big idea or moment come from for you? I think it's fascinating talking to people.
It's always been a dream, always been something I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to own my own company. I wanted to do something. And that was even when I was in the restaurant business. Me and my wife first met, we wrote up a 35-page business plan to open the Amber Room right at one of our local towns. And we realized that opening up a restaurant is a lot riskier than most businesses, for sure. And then it just
before COVID.
Even before COVID, I mean, the percentages are you you got to have some money to open up a restaurant. And we didn't have the financial backing to do it. And we just backed out. And so started with the lawn care. And I don't know if it was an epiphany or if it was one day I said, you know what, let's do it. And I think there was nothing wrong with the company. I love Andrew. We still have a great relationship. I love all the people who were there. I've been to weddings with my old employees and old co-workers. And it just hit me one day. Let's go for it. And that's really what it was. Let's go for it. Let's try it. I have the knowledge. I know what I need to get. I know what I need to buy, things like that.
Awesome. We have a comment in from the Facebook. Chris has such an incredible drive. He is going to go very far in his business. I love growth plans he's shared. Also, does he own any other clothes? That is a comment in from the Facebook. Do you?
Love it.
I know
love it.
You love the merch, don't you?
I do. I love the merch. Why not love the merch? It's a brand. You got to build your brand. It's not just about lawns. People don't see Mrs. Jones lawns on 3rd Street. They're not going to drive by, but they're going to drive by me. They're going to drive by my truck. They're going to see me in a restaurant. They're going to see me at my, T-ball games when my kid starts to play, baseball and such. And that's branding is everything. And that's, I signed up a local baseball field and I'm donating all my services, all my products for free in exchange for a logo painted on their field house, 6 to 7 signs, and exclusive rights to their main field, which is a 40 by 20 banner.
Yeah.
So
I hear that a lot. Like, why would I give my services away for free? Like I want to do anything. Like, you need to get paid for every hour of the day and all this other stuff. And I remember back to our first year in business, I wanted the connections and the relationships more than I needed the money at the time. Because I knew you, as I'm sure you know, is why you're donating the services for the baseball field, is that you're creating attention. Right? You're getting attention for the brand. And
yep.
Guess who goes to those baseball games? Homeowners. I mean, people have kids.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands of opportunities and thousands. You the old adage, you touch somebody 7 times. That's great. It's probably more like 10 or 12 these days because people are scrolling through Facebook so fast they don't even see your logo anymore. But it was an opportunity. I love golf, so I got into a golf tournament. We sponsored a couple holes and it was great. And I talked to the field manager and I said, listen, let's get together. Let's make Stout Lawn Care the primary sponsorship of these beautiful fields. It's a beautiful complex. They're putting up brand new batting cages. And I saw it as a golden opportunity. And I did the math and it's part of my marketing budget now. I'll put it that way. I ran the numbers, ran the products and usage, and now it just goes into my 2021 marketing and see what comes from it.
Now, you're a master. Your first year in business, you mentioned before we hopped on this call, is 206 customers, right? In your first year?
206, correct.
And that was predominantly bootstrapped, right? Like you didn't spend 50 grand or whatever to go. I mean, I'm sure you spent money, but you didn't spending money just on the trucks and the equipment and the marketing to get that growth. How did you get that first 200 customers? Because there's people watching this who are like, man, I met 100 customers. I want to make that leap of faith, quit my day job. I hear this a lot. There's like firefighters and EMTs. They do that during the day, but they want to take the leap and then do this full time eventually. So how did you get to 206 customers, I guess?
It's funny you said firefighters and things that, my biggest advantage that I had was my friend/family group. My closest circle, which was probably 15 to 20 accounts to start the year with, which was amazing. They're, friends and family, they prepaid me. They got me all the money I needed to get it a little bit rolling. But local is what I would say in referrals. And I was on all the friends and family. Hey, here's 50 pamphlets. Go take this to your job and literally hand them to everybody that you work with. I stopped at a friend's school. She teaches at a local school. I dropped off pamphlets to give to all the teachers and all the staff members there, and she handed them out that way. And so it was just me realizing that I just got to get my name out there. I got to make sure people know who I am. My wife did an amazing job getting me on some of these Facebook community pages. I think are by far, just in Facebook alone, I did 28 sales just from Facebook, through marketing through Facebook. And probably out of those 28, I'd say 25 of them were from local community pages where my wife would go on a Sunday night and say, "Hey, family run, family owned. We just opened up. We'd love to earn your business. Give us a call." And March, I must have had 15 emails from my wife saying, "Hey, call these people, call these people, call these people."
Yeah, let's hammer on that a bit. So you guys actively push that you're family owned and operated. Is that kind of what sets you apart there in your local market?
Yes, for sure. For sure. I mean, just like in any market, GoGreen, Lawn Doctor, they're all the major players in our area. But I think here in the Northeast, right outside Philly, we have a good opportunity to, how can I put this, beat those guys. Maybe not necessarily in numbers, but I think communication, having real green systems or something similar in place where you look like a well-developed 10 years in company right from day one.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you're handing people printed, invoices from your Excel spreadsheet. I just, I wanted to go into it. That's why the branding, the hats, the hoodies, everything. I wanted to go into it in a dead sprint, knowing that I wanted to look like the big guys. I wanted to make sure that I came across as a professional company.
Totally. I love the way you're positioning yourself. Like from the very beginning, you knew Real Green was important. You got your branding and logos down. The website's nice and tight. You can tell that like you just know. And when you look at the competition, it's not really hard, right? You just look at what they're doing and you imitate certain things about what has made them successful. And lo and behold, it's going to create success in your business.
So equipment's important too. Equipment, knowing where to spend the money is huge. And working with Scott's and then with GoGreen is that's one thing I did learn from them is where to spend your money and spend it in good equipment.
And totally. When we started our company, we had one machine, one truck, like to do the lawns or whatever. And we would always use a walk behind frickin' aerator. It was a big red class, and my dad's out there, I'm out there. We're like tag teaming a 40,000 square foot lawn with this walk behind aerator. I'm not like snow's flying, and I was just, I was like dreaming. I was like, man, one day we're gonna get a freaking ride-on machine, and I would like be walking behind the fucking machine. And like, one day we're gonna get a ride-on machine, and then now they have like 12 of them or whatever, and it's like nothing. But like when I was younger, I was like, I look up to these companies, they have all these ride-ons, all these trucks, all of this stuff, and I was visualizing. I was like, one day we're gonna get there. Like, one day, like. And here's the best part. I was like, no matter how long it takes me, my lifetime, we will accomplish that at some point.
Yeah.
I just need to learn how to get there.
And for me, it was a little bit of buy the machine, sell the work, because I did not want to. I'm 39. I'm not young. I don't want to ride. I'm not old, but I'm in that middle. Who knows what I'm still living like I'm in my 20s. I feel like I'm in my 20s, but my body feels like it's in his 50s. I got the Peloton back here, just in case.
Oh, okay.
Gotta keep my legs good. But I did not want to. I looked at a walk behind, and I was like, I got to get one of these for the small yards. But Stinger, I'm buying a Rideon Aerator because I'm not walking these lawns in the fall. It's just not worth it. And it little fire under my ass too. I spent $12,000 on a Rideon Aerator. You better sell $30,000 worth of aerations and seatings in the fall, or else you're losing it. So
at least
I just, when seating came along, I knew I had to sell, and Real Green helps with that. Recommending their aeration seating right to the email, right to the customer.
Yeah, you mentioned that, right? You were able to give me a definite number of how many, for folks watching this, because there's plenty of people that watch that don't use a CRM. Maybe they're using an Excel spreadsheet, or they're using a different CRM software where you can't segment the leads by, source code.
Yeah.
You explain to everybody how you knew exactly how many Facebook leads or Facebook sales dollars you generated this year?
So I have when I do a sale, I have a list of questions. Everyone should have a list of questions they ask. But the last question is always, how did you hear about us?
Mm,
Because I need to know, my wife's in sales, I need to know how you heard about us so I can invest that money properly in the next season for what was working and what was selling. So, just looking, they have source codes. And so, saw truck, I saw you in the neighborhood, or I saw you drive by. That's a cool truck. That is a saw truck source code,
yeah.
or website. Hey, I was Googling you, came up on Google. That's a website source code. Norgwen, that's the Norgwen Baseball Association that I'm doing. So I have a Norgwen 2020 source code in there that will allow me. I have 4 sales through the Norgwen Association so far. So I know that 2021, by the end of 2021, I'll know how that investment worked for me donating my services to Norgwen's Baseball Association.
Yeah.
If I get 50 sales out of it, then let's roll into 2022. Let's keep doing this. If I get 2 sales out of it, then let's reevaluate. I still want to be a part of it, but how can we, how can I make it worth both our time?
Yeah. So with that, what source code this year for you is producing the most, would you say?
So, uh, referral for sure. I mean, referrals at 73. So just from friends, family, new customers referring me to their friends, their neighbors. So 73 customers just from referrals. So I do have a referral program. It's a $25 Visa gift card that gets mailed out to anyone that referred me at the end of the season. Um, I don't like to do programs where, oh, I'll give you $25 off a program. I'd rather just wait till the end of the year and send everybody Visa gift cards.
Yeah.
It just makes it easier on my end, especially with Real Green and discounts and prepay letters and things like that can get a little confusing.
Well, and you said you're doing 206 lawns. You have a family. Like you're doing you're wearing a lot of hats. So to
Yeah.
your referral program and add another thing to your task list. How do you manage all that? I mean, you're out doing all the production, you're selling. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you have a beautiful family that I've seen on Facebook. How do you manage just keeping everything on the tracks?
I don't. I don't manage it. No, it's just so a typical day. I mean, that's probably the best way to describe it. Is a
Yeah.
typical day is I'm out at 6:37 in the morning. I go fill my truck up, and being an owner operator, I could probably do 15, 20 stops a day, but I try to keep it around 10 to 12. Maybe work some Saturdays, a couple jobs here and there, but I'm usually done. If I bust my butt for 6 hours, I can usually bang that out. So I'm back to the shop 1, 2, 3 o'clock, preparing for the next day. As far as the truck goes and restocking and responding to emails, and then I come home and sit down here for a couple hours. Send out some estimates, go hang out with the family for a couple hours, and then hop back down here for
Yeah.
the nightcap, I will call it, I guess.
So what's the big vision? I mean, why start a company? What are you working towards? Like what are you looking to build? Are you looking to build a company that, has 100 employees one day? What's the big vision?
No. So it's a funny thing. I'm looking to build a family oriented company that has good values that people want to work for, and that doesn't drive me insane. I don't want to get to 5, 10,000 customers. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for quality work and see where it takes me. To be honest with you, it's too hard to put a goal. People always say, big, hairy, audacious goals. I love them too. For sales, I'm all over it. I love it. But as far as where I want to take the company, that's a loaded question. That's a tough thing to think about where I want to go. Let's get through the first 3 years, and I think after that, I'm going to start to evaluate where I want to be. What do I want to do? Do I want to invest in other industries? Do I want to continue in this? Do I see a future in some of my employees of taking over the business? And just like similar to what you did, your brother took it over. If I get John Smith as my first tech, and he's an amazing guy, and he wants to run the business, then I'll step aside at year 7 and let him run it, and I'll go build houses or something, or get a food truck going, or, I have passions in life, traveling, all those things come to play. And my goal is to push for 3 years as hard as I possibly can, and then reevaluate that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. Very early on, I realized that there's different types of businesses in this industry. There's the folks that have 100 customers, and they're getting just sick margins on those 100 customers, and
Yep.
they go do all the lawns themselves. Then they go on vacation for not 6 months, but like maybe 3 or 4 months in the off season.
Yeah.
And they're super happy, and it's great. And then there's other folks where it's like, well, I have 10,000 customers, and my margins aren't as good because I have an executive team. I've got 26 trucks. I've got everything that comes along with a bigger business. But I think there's happiness in both paths. It's just, I guess it goes back to the ambition of the person growing the business of what do you want? What makes you happy? At the end of the day, like, it's all about happiness, right? Like, at the end of the day, am I happy? Am I being impactful in my community? And it's really cool that, like, you're sponsoring the baseball field. Like, that is cool. There's like all the parents and all the, you're doing their lawns. It's like for monetary exchange. But like, to be a part of the community, I think that's a really special thing, and to make the community be more beautiful
and to give back, man. I when I hear a lot in our industry of how to save money, whether it's payroll or how you pay guys or health insurance or all that. And my wife being in health insurance sales, I know how expensive it can be for companies. But when I look at my company, I look at including that, and that comes from the community idea of take care of your employees, make sure your employees are out in the community doing services, helping the community itself. So that's always my ultimate goal, is to give back and to be a part of the community. It really is.
That's awesome. So what does next year look like for you? I know you said 206 sales this year. What's next year?
Well, next year, like I said, we're looking to double. So if that puts me at 400 customers, that puts me at one technician full time at between 250 accounts. So that means that I need to call Barry Carter tomorrow and order a Florida sprayer, because that's the next step, is finding a qualified employee first. Someone that wants to grow with the company is the most important thing, and then providing that person with the best equipment in the industry, which I think is a Florida sprayer. And I think the return on investment on one of those is you can't count how good that can be.
So you're going all liquid then?
No, we'll see. So my program is ever fluctuating at this point. Trying to find out what I'm comfortable with, what I like to do. I think I have 6 apps, so I think majority I might book in next year with a 1 and a 6 being granular, just because the temperatures and weather, and it's cold, it's hard, it's annoying. Guys don't like pulling a hose when it's 38 degrees out. It's just easier to get out and hop out, fill a hopper up, and go. So it's going to be a hybrid. It's going to be ever changing, and that's kind of my 3-year plan that I keep on referring to. Is after 3 years, I'd like to have a set program where I roll into it every year without making too many major adjustments.
It's funny. At our company, we started on the opposite side. We started strictly granular, so it was granular fur and liquid weed control every app, every route of the year, until we got to the point where we were like, guys were on their stand-ons just turfing up lawns like crazy. And it was back when it was hard to find good technicians. So guys would come in and, they would like do a bad pattern, or they turf up a lawn, and it was like consistent. So, and in this industry, you have to lay guys off in the winter. And then, so your churn on employees is very high. So you're like, okay, how can we just take the variables out of the equation? And liquid delivery system seemed like a good way to do that. So we went out and got all liquid rigs, all liquid trucks, and it worked out really, really well, where we could hire a guy, bring him in, get him trained. And if we could just have them do one thing right, well, actually 2 things: hang the stuff on the door every time with the flag in the lawn. I didn't know that was a hard thing to do. And then also do a good pattern on the lawn. Then I think so that's why we like the liquid. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it changes at each stage of growth. You think about different things, because if it was just me doing every lawn, I'd probably, I wouldn't have to worry about that. But
it's really, we talk a lot about efficiency. I think efficiency is very important in how fast you can get to the lawn. And I came from the Scots world, where it was literally 1 minute per 1,000 square feet plus 3 minutes to hang and fill out your paperwork and do all that. So when I was looking at my program and how I wanted to build it, I wanted to be as efficient as possible. So when I thought granular, yes, granular has its place, especially here in the Northeast. When it gets cold, it's tough to use liquid. But I looked at 2 things. I looked at, it's easier, I think, to train a guy with a hose, and a lot of people argue that with me. It's easier to push. I don't really know. I'm taking what my personal experience is. I think it's easier to train with a hose.
I agree with you. And if you're using a good humic there's less risk for burn. And I agree with you 100%. There's less margin for error there with liquid.
And a lot of companies go out with, like you said, the ride-on equipment, and it's so hard to find someone that you can trust. Isn't the right word, because I like to trust people right from the get-go, but have the knowledge to use ride-on equipment.
Right.
It's easier to find a guy that wants to work, has a good work ethic, has a good smile, is presentable, and I can train him to pull a hose in one week without a doubt. He can do. And I liked, when I train rounds. So I train everything he needs to know about round 1 and do round 1 perfect. And then we train and we build. By the end of the year, you have an idea of what the program does, why we do what we do. And so training every 35 days, my plan is to go out with this new technician for a day or 2 and just explain to him what he's seeing, why he's seeing it, things like that. He should have the pattern down by now. But to double check, make sure his patterns are good, make sure he's hitting edges, make sure he's not pulling the hose across Mrs. Jones' flower beds and knocking out all her $4 solar lights. That's important. It's how to use pivot points. All those things come to play. And so that's where I'm gonna head with it next year.
That's awesome. I like that idea about the round. Like, train for that round, so that they're not trying to learn the whole encyclopedia at once. They're like, okay, all I got to do is focus on learning this round, why we do it, why it's important to turf care. That's super interesting. So
yeah,
I think we've delivered a lot of value here, and I always like to end our shows on. Well, first, before we get into the wrap up, let's talk about your YouTube. You've been shooting a lot of videos. I know at Lawncology you had your video set up. Do you enjoy just documenting the process, or how do you see that playing out? How do you see it adding value to your business or your team?
So I'm not. My idea for YouTube is not to be, hey, this is Chris from Stout Lawn Care. This is what dandelions look like. This is what we can do.
Yeah.
It's too boring for me. YouTube, I think I didn't do too much of the YouTube. I started on it, and then selling season happened and production season happened. So I kind of gave up on that end. I took a ton of videos that I have in my phone, ton of photos. So I'm going to work on that over the winter time, which is nice. You get, 2-month break where I can work on things like this. But my goal for the YouTube page is to be more for our industry, maybe even be fun and be joking and not take life or the lawn too seriously, and hopefully get some interviews with some customers that I love and that are good people and that are fun, and talk about how what I've done or what Stout Lawn Care has done for their property and how they value that as a service, and more of that aspect than today we're coming out to do pre-emergent. Why do we do pre-emergent? Because it stops crabgrass. No, let's talk to Mrs. Jones, be like, hey, your lawn looked like crap last year. Well, how's it look this year? This is awesome. This is exciting. How do you feel? Things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. The reason why I asked that, people, there's YouTube channels out there, and it's like they're making more money off of YouTube than they are their business.
Yeah.
I was just curious what your angle was there. So as we get to the wrap up here, I always like to end the show, especially with folks in your position that they've been in the industry, they've grown their own companies, they started their own companies. What would you say, to that person that's just starting out or has ideas of starting their company? What advice would you give to that person?
I say jump. I say jump.
Yeah.
Jump as far and as high and as long as you can and go for it. Don't, when I looked at the business, I got quotes for Gregson Clark, Steel Green, Stinger, Ford, Dodge, Chevy, and I looked at all these numbers and I was panicked. I was like, how am I ever going to do this? How am I ever going to pay my debt off? How's it going to work? And what I would say is go for it. Learn how to market. You don't need, just like your rounds, don't learn how to do Facebook, YouTube, money mailers all at once. Pick something like, hey, I'm going to focus on Facebook for this first 2 weeks, and I'm going to put $100 towards Facebook and see where it gets me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have a conversation with the Valpak or the coupon or the Clipper magazine and see where that gets me and how much that's going to cost. And if you see value in it, go for it. Me and Andrew used to always laugh, if it doesn't work the first time, try it again. If it doesn't work that time, you might want to try it again. And after the third time, it doesn't work. Well, let's just try it one more time, and then we'll not do it anymore. It's a perfect example of Valpak. Valpak is I don't know if there's Valpak all across the country. It's just a coupon book, and it's shotgun approach. You don't get great leads from it, but Valpak, I had 12 sales. 12 sales. I spent around $1,500, so I'm a little over my customer average, what I wanted to spend, but I got it out to 58,000 homes twice.
That's what we saw in our first few years. We had Thumbtack, Home Advisor, home shows, telemarketing, knocking on doors, Facebook, referrals, channel partners, like all these different. It's like, it was funny looking at our sales report. We had like 50 different source codes.
Yeah.
Like 10 sales here, 18 sales here, 20 sales there. And our goal was to be BNI. I think you're in a BNI group, right? Or maybe you talked about it.
Yep. Well, my wife's in a BNI, so I kind of get, she helps.
You got what they call the fringe benefits.
The fringe benefits, for sure. For sure.
Sick for us. It was awesome. We joined it at $600, and you've got I looked for the biggest BNI group that had the most people in it, obviously, because you get a lot of the people in the group that sign up for your service, because just by odds, a lot of them use probably a bigger company anyway. But BNI is $600. Now, granted, you do have to show up, especially if it's a morning group. I am not a morning person by any means.
No.
It also got me in the mode of like showing up, even if I didn't want to. It was like wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, get dressed, and show up and network and have a good attitude and do lunch and learns and do these networking events. And it really taught me how to show up and like how business is done. And we did get a lot of business from it.
Yeah.
And we definitely got our money back probably 10 times from the BNI group, but you got to put the work in, like with anything in life. So, and
that's, talk about generating leads and things like that. Just gets me thinking about, I got a lot of leads from local landscapers too. I cold called 50 landscapers in the area that I knew didn't do fertilizer services. And I said, hey, listen, I'm a new company. Do you do fertilizer services? If you don't, I'd love to, shoot you a price. And when I talk to those guys, I say, listen, I will charge you a fee or a price to do it if you're going to sub me out. You can make a couple extra bucks on the customer. That's fine. Or, which easier for me and you both, is just give me your customers. I handle all the grass problems. I handle all the turf problems. And you're going to see the results of a great lawn, and your customer's going to be happy. They're going to love that you referred me to you, and they're going to do, hey, I want my mulch done by this landscaper, or hey, this guy was good. Maybe I'll go with his tree guy, and it builds. And I love my local landscapers. I got a couple friends that do it, and referrals, that's probably part of that, but I call it direct friends is another source code, and I got 27 sales off direct friends.
Oh my God. And that's only going to continue to grow too, as that relationship gets deeper. And it goes both ways. How many people of your customers need mowing or landscape.
For sure. Once a week. Once or twice a week, I'm giving a mulch estimate and say, hey, call this guy. He's a great landscaper in your area.
I know before I started doing the channel partnership stuff, I thought this was like everybody was just always against each other. Nobody wanted to like collaborate. But if that was one thing I could have done quicker in our company, would have been getting to the idea that people are open to collaboration. They're open to partnership. And it's a hack to grow your business faster because they want to grow their company. You're growing your company, but you don't offer the same services. So, hey, how about we like come up with a relationship where I'm going to refer you some people, you refer me, and along the way we get to just be friends. I think it's a great thing.
And we get to network. Going to these network invite. I mean, I met a guy that's literally around the block from me. We are competing markets. We are directly in each other's backyards, but he is a landscaper. He only services a small area around his shop, and we became friends, and I've helped him grow his fertilizer company, helped him with his fill station, get all that set up. And I love the guy. He's a good friend. We bounce ideas off each other all the time. And he might be stealing a little work from me, and I might be stealing a little work from him. But when he gets a job and that's 15 miles away, he goes, hey, you call Stout Lawn Care. No, they're going to take care of you. Yeah. Or if I get a request for a mowing estimate in his town, I say, listen, that's the guy you want to go with. Right. He's the best in the business, and he's fair, and he's a trustworthy guy.
That's what I love about, I think with the way things are moving, I don't know if Facebook has helped with this, but our industry seems to be more conducive to this relationship. There's so much work out there that we're not like against each other. We're like, let's lift the industry as a whole. There's enough work to go around for everybody. I mean, you generate 206 new customers all by yourself. You're going to double up the business again this year, and you're not taking anything off of anybody's plate.
No,
for the most part, but
no,
that's amazing. And I think the relationship aspect of this industry is awesome. In fact, you talked about you still have a good relationship with Andrew at GoGreen, and I'm sure you have friends from Scott's that you still, are in contact today.
Yeah, I mean, GoGreen has a bunch of, when Scott's sold, a lot of guys left, and GoGreen was fortunate enough to pick up a couple of those guys, and after I left, a lot of those guys are in leadership positions now. They're not just techs on the field. They're in the office handling customers, doing scheduling. And a good friend of mine, Grady, we worked at Scott's together, and I brought him along right when I started GoGreen, and now he's the general manager at GoGreen, and he's doing a phenomenal job and has built an amazing team over there. And I can't thank Andrew and the people over there for giving me the experience that I needed to jump off this cliff by myself. It was it's a great feeling when you have, especially with the Facebook, is the ideas that people have, the setups. I like running this setup, or I like running that setup. It opens your mind, and it can make you more efficient, for sure. And efficiency will make you money.
Yeah, totally. I mean, shows like this, it speeds up the process. Before, I had to go get all this information that we're giving from other owners in a very analog way. I had to go literally spend time with them, ride around in their truck with them. And thankfully those mentors gladly gave me that information with no expectation of anything in return. They just kind of taught me how to sell lawn care. And, now all that data is in the Facebook groups. I go in there and there's so much good data where you can learn so much in a short amount of time, and maybe not make some of the mistakes early on, like probably we've both made in our careers. So, Chris, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Where can people link up with you? Where are you at on socials? Chris? The audio cut out there.
One of my earbuds went away.
All right. We got you back. We got Chris back.
There you go. Instagram at stoutlawncare.com. Facebook. I think Facebook's weird. Oh, what is my name on Facebook? That's embarrassing.
I'll drop it in the comments afterwards. I'll go get
Thanks.
all your socials. I'll drop it in comments.
Perfect.
Stoutlawncare.com. Add him on Facebook, Christopher Stout. Check him out. I'm sure he'd be glad to talk to anybody and answer any questions.
Would love to. Love networking.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too, Kendall.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man.
Yep. See ya.
Bye-bye.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. That was Chris Stout, Stout's Lawn Care. First year in business, went from 206 customers to 400 customers in one season. Just an amazing testament of what's possible, what you can do when you just bet on yourself, right? And go out and say, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to make it happen. No matter what. That's amazing. And it's a testament to the success that you can build in your own business. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. We enjoy bringing you these shows on Lawnbot Live. Who's doing big things in the industry, who's growing their companies. What does tomorrow look like in our industry? We love talking about that. If you haven't gotten our ebook yet, it's sick. 10 chapters on how to blow up your business in 2021 and dominate digital. You definitely have to go download that now so you don't miss it. You can rewatch our webinar. We're doing it totally free. I think I only mentioned Lawnbot once in the book. So there's I would say it's at least $100,000 in value I'm just giving away for free, right? How to dominate digital in 2021. So go check it out. Again, that was Chris Stout we saw today on Lawnbot Live. We'll see you next week, folks. And until then, Kendall with Lawnbot signing off.